Hey guys, what's up? And today, I'm going to be showing you Sarah's Advanced on Skewb. So this series will be consisted of 3 parts. This part is going to be Category 2 cases. The next part will be Category 3 cases. And then my last part will just be some miscellaneous cases and some walkthrough solves. So I'm assuming that you already know Category 1 cases. So that would just be like these two swapping, and then this coming down to be here. So basically what happens when you do a sledge or a hedge is that these two opposite centers will swap, and then these two centers will be swapped, and the center in the back will be untouched, and some corners will be moved around up here. But yeah, so then you'll see here that this will skip because orange goes to orange, red goes to red, and green comes down. So yeah, this will skip. For example, if you have this case, you see that these two swap, so this will be solved, and this will be opposite, so you'll have a U-perm from this angle, as you see after you do the hedge. So I do the hedge, and then I just have U-perm. So the one case you need to know is the H-perm skip. So this is very useful. Basically what you do is you see that this is opposite, and then these two are already solved. So you'll see that these two will be opposite, and then this will be opposite, and this already is opposite, but you don't need to know that. You just, after you know that it looks like this in the front, you know that it's going to have an H-perm. So what you want to do here is, instead of doing a hedge in front, you do a hedge from the back, like that. And then because you did a hedge there, you do the opposite of that, or the inverse. So a sledge in front, like that. So if you did a sledge back here, you would do a hedge in front instead. So let's go right into Category 2, peanut. Something you need to know how to do is intermediate from all angles. So for example, like this case, you could either do a sledge, or you could either go from here and do a hedge, sledge. So you should be able to know how to do those. It's pretty intuitive, so you can figure that out yourself. But yeah, if you know that, then you could move on with the video. So the first cases I'm going to be going over are the 2 sledge cases for the peanut cases, Category 2 peanut cases. And you see you have 2 opposite centers, Category 2 peanut, and then 1 center that's neither opposite nor solved. So what you would do here is hold this center, the one that doesn't have the opposites, in front of you, and then just do Sarah's intermediate. So I would do a hedge on this side, and then I just have a sledge, and then it's solved. So another example of this 2 sledge case is like this. So I'd see I have 2 opposites here, and then I'd hold them in the back, and then just do Sarah's intermediate. So that's just sledge, hedge. So the next cases I'm going to be going over are these cases. It's basically like the opposite, I would say, of the last cases. So we have 2 solved centers, and then just 1 adjacent center, or unsolved on opposite center. So just what you would have here, it just looks like this. And you have Category 2 peanut, obviously, and you would just do what you did last time. So start with holding this in front and then doing Sarah's intermediate. But instead of going like that, you'll see you have an H-perm. So what you want to do is cancel into the H-perm skip. So you know that for Sarah's intermediate, you'll go sledge here and then hedge here. So then instead of doing that, you do sledge here and then do a hedge here instead, because you have to do a Y2 for the H-perm skip. And then because you know that the opposite of hedge is sledge, you'll do a Y2 again and then just do sledge. So like I said, sledge and then a hedge here, Y2, and you just have a sledge here. So another example of this case is right here, and we have 2 solved centers, and then right here. So you would do a hedge here, then instead of doing a sledge here, you do a sledge here, and then you do a Y2 again, and then do a hedge. So hedge, sledge, hedge. So the next cases I'm going to be going over are these cases. So you have Category 2 peanut, and then just 1 solved center, and then 2 centers that have to be swapped, like this. And what you would do here is something quite different. So you would hold the center that's next to the adjacent, in between the adjacent and the solved center. So you'd see, you wouldn't hold it next to the U center, which is back here. You'd hold it next to the solved one and the other adjacent center. And then what you'd basically want to do is force a peanut case. And what it's going to force is a 2-sledge case, which is a lot better. But, so like, normally here, if you're doing intermediate, you would do a sledge. But that would give you pi, and you don't want that. So you do the opposite of what you would usually do for intermediate. So here I would do a hedge like that. And then I'm just left with a 2-sledge case. So, like that. So another example of this case is right here. I see I have a solved here, and then 2 adjacent ones that have to be swapped, and then category 2 peanut. So I would hold it right here, so U center and back basically. And then I would do a hedge here, because I would usually do a sledge, but I want to force a peanut case, so hedge, and then I just have a 2-sledge case. Okay, so next I'll be going over these cases. What you have here is 2 opposite centers and 1 solved center, and the 2 opposite centers are opposite of each other like this, and then the solved center is in the back, and obviously category 2 peanut. But what you would do here is pretty much force pure pi. So pure pi looks like this. All you have to do for it, if you don't know already, is double sledge, just like that. But what you would do here is you'd want to force that. So what you would do for intermediate, so like you do a sledge for either of these, and hedge if it's from this angle. And what you do is hold the U center in front, and then just force pure pi. So I'd do a sledge here, because that's what I would do for intermediate. If I was from this angle, I would do a sledge here for intermediate. So I'd just do a sledge there, and you just have pure pi. Another way you could think of this is not solving any of the corners, because you see that pure pi, there are no solved corners on top. So like for this case, I see that if I do a hedge, this corner will be solved for sure, because if you look at what a hedge is, you see this, and you know that'll solve if you do a hedge. So then I could just easily see that I'm going to be doing a sledge here instead, and then I just have pure pi. So I'm just going to go over these 2 cases, specifically for this part. So then you have pure peanut, category 2 peanut, and then you just have 2 opposite centers that are solved, and then in the back you have an opposite center. So these 2 aren't that nice cases, but you could use these really easy algs to remember. I learned these from Ubercuber, so I checked that video out right here, and it shows the 2 other cases, but I only use these 2 in solves. So then for this case, what you would do here is you recognize it's like this. So you do like double sledge usually for intermediate. But what you do for this, when you see that these 2 are matching, this is opposite, you take out this corner, like that, you'd insert it, and then you see that you're left with a sledge. For this case, this is not as easy, but it's still a pretty easy case. What you do here is you have this, and then you hold it like here, right, like this. So like, you're basically doing a sledge right here, and then do a sledge right there, and then you rotate to here, and then you just solve this red corner with this insertion. So instead of doing like this insertion, which probably most of you know, you do this insertion, so like up, up, down, down. So the 2 other cases, they look like this. They're not that friendly. The algs aren't that friendly, I'd say. So for these 2, where you just have the opposite matching, and then the opposite centers matching, and then this center has an opposite color, I just do intermediate. So nothing too fancy, but yeah, just what I do for those. So for this case, you see you have category 2 peanut, and you only have 1 opposite center. So this one, there's nothing really special about this. All you really have to do is hold the opposite center in the back, and then just do Sarah's intermediate, so like that. So look, for this case, for example, you have the opposite center here, so you just do Sarah's intermediate from this angle. Instead of going here, you do like this, and then you're left with a U-perm. Okay, so next we have these cases, and here we have 0 opposite centers. And these aren't that great cases. Again, I just do intermediate for them. So here I would just do intermediate like this. not really much to say about that. So if you have no opposite centers, you just do Sarah's intermediate. So I'm gonna be going over the double sledge cases, or like the category 1 cases, but you wouldn't be able to do them if you didn't know category 2, so I'll just go over those now. So the first type we have here, just pure pi, not pure pi, you have category 1 pi, and you have a U-perm. So here I would just do, if it's from this angle U-perm, so the opposite center isn't here or here, you just do Sarah's intermediate, but you could see that you'll have a U-perm from this angle after you're done, because double sledge just twists these corners, does nothing else to the centers, and yeah, so I just do like that. Now if you have a U-perm like this, for example, where the opposite center is either here or you have an opposite center here, this is a 3 sledge case, so what you would do is you'd hold the opposite center in the back and you just do a sledge. No matter where it is, you just always do a sledge, and then you're left with a 2 sledge case, so you can recognize this pretty easily. It's just hedge and then sledge. So another example of this case is right here. We have a U-perm pi, and then you have the opposite center here, so you'd hold the opposite center in the back, do a sledge, and then you're left with a 2 sledge case, just like that. If you have a Z-perm, you can't really avoid those, so you just do double sledge and then Z-perm, like that. So nothing great. So the last case I'll be going over is the H-perm one. So I mean, there are two ways to do this, but the way I do it and the way I think that's better is to do a Y2. So instead of folding from here, you do a Y2, and you just solve the corners like that, and then you're left with a U-perm. So basically what that is, that's just sledge, Y2, sledge, Y2, sledge. And that's all there is for that. Okay guys, that covers the category 2 cases for the Sarah's Advanced tutorial. So in a few weeks I'll be going over the category 3 cases, so look out for that soon. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a like definitely. And as always, be sure to subscribe. Thanks!